Thank you. Thank you. Let me start before I get into my notes here, my statement, how much we appreciate everything you do. I was very, very fortunate to grow up in Deep South, Tallahassee, Florida in the 60s. What brought us through that process was the fact that we had something in common. And what it had commonality was a belief in faith, family, the free market, education, and the idea that as we become a more perfect union, that we'll find those things that have made us different, brings us more and more together. And I've looked out over the last decades from my growing up in a segregated South to where we are today, where we really do a much better job looking at each other from inside out versus inside out versus outside in. That's the promise of our nation, that's the promise of our country, and I want to thank you for what you've done, because faith is the bottom line. Faith, however we might worship, is what brings us together so we can start looking at each other in the way that we now are a much better job of doing. So I want to thank you again for having me here today to help commemorate the 25th anniversary of the International Religious Freedom Act of 1998. Freedom of religion is not just a cherished American value, it's a fundamental right, human right that knows no boundaries. IRFA, enacted a quarter of a century ago, stands for a testament of our commitment to promoting and defending this universal right, which is we have to make sure that we always maintain and fight for. IRFA was born out of the understanding that religious freedom is not just a matter of personal belief, it's a cornerstone of democracy and human dignity. It was created to make religious freedom a top priority in U.S. foreign policy, then to lend our support to those who face persecution because of their faith around the world. Over these 25 years, it's been a tangible impact. We've seen the tangible impact of IRFA. We've witnessed the courage and real resilience of those who, in the face of adversity, refuse to compromise their faith. We have seen governments held accountable for the violation of religious freedom, and we've seen the progress in a global struggle for that liberty. We cannot rest. We must instead lean in with more passion, dedication, tenacity, because the work is far from done. As we reflect on the past successes, it should empower us to envision a much more that has to be done. We must continue to advocate for those who still suffer. We must adapt our policies to evolving challenges of religious freedom. Let us renew our commitment to the principles enshrined in IRFA. Let us work together to ensure that all people, regardless of faith or belief, can live and live a life free of persecution and discrimination. Let us honor the legacy of IRFA by working towards a world where universal rights to religious freedom is truly universal. Again, we have in this nation a remarkable history, one that from the very beginning believed in becoming a more perfect union, one that believed that we can be equal in the eyes of those around us in our society, to dream the dreams that we have, knowing that because we can in the world of freedom, make some good things happen. So I want to thank you for giving us that foundation, the foundation of religious freedom, the foundation of having our faith, whatever it might be, to be accepted, to be embraced, and that together we can have a conversation that brings us to a much more perfect union. That's what we're all about. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for leaning in hard. And we have to make sure the next 25 years we can look back and say we've become even a much better place because of the freedom of religion that we've fought so hard for. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you.